Hello, my name is Alexus Loera, and I'm webmaster for NASC. This is episode 3 of Let's Talk Tuesdays, and we're here with Karr, co-founder of #ICanHelp, and her intern Zara Sameme. And today we're going to be talking about mental wellness. And we have 2 other members from the state board here to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Gillian Grimm. I am the NASSP Student Leadership Advisory Committee member. I had to have a conversation with you all today.
Hi guys, my name is Cortese. I'm the current Division 1A Vice President, and I go to Sandy Valley High School. And I'm going to be starting off this episode with the first question. So exciting. My first question is, why is mental health so important for young people to talk about?
Well, first off, thank you for having us here today. And I purposely now am inviting my interns to come with us whenever I get asked to come and kind of speak, because we like to model working with students side by side. We should be walking alongside students in any kind of topic like this. Mental health, racism, all those kind of topics are so important. So I love what you guys have established here with this, with the talks. I've been watching them, tuning in. They're super awesome. I think it's so important to walk side by side. So I'm honored that I asked Zara to come join me and that we can walk side by side. So it's really important to talk about mental health because it has such a negative stigma. And 1 in 5 people actually have a mental health issue, but 5 out of 5 actually have mental health, right? So I think it just needs to be a common conversation that we have to start having with people is about mental health. And we need to start doing it more often and making it so it's not so awkward to talk about. Like, it's just a normal thing that we take care of what we call take care of your mentals. That's what we need to start doing. What do you think, Zara?
Exactly. It's been this taboo topic for such a long time. And I feel like our generation of social warriors, it's our job to bring it up and tell our parents and grandparents and those aunts and uncles to say, hey, it's okay if someone is struggling with a mental health disorder or having a decline or just bringing up mental health in general. And it's so important that schools and student councils have that opportunity to take advantage of talking about mental health, because it creates such an amazing environment. Like, before and after talking about mental health, you'll see such a difference in your community. And it's so amazing because everyone feels safe there. It makes people feel safe. And it's important to realize the impact of talking about mental health on other people's mental health.
And I think, like, even like you said, we all have mental health, and that issue or that topic of just getting it out there and making it okay to talk about the issues, or just, everyone goes through it. So being able to talk about that is really something we should normalize for sure. And I also know that social media, obviously with the #ICanHelp, you have dealt with a lot and seen that firsthand. Social media really can affect the way that you see mental health or how we talk about it or different things like that. So I guess the question that I have is, what part of social media affects mental health the most?
Yeah, well, if you don't know, here's a stat for you. Suicide has actually increased 200% for 10 to 14-year-olds. And it's mainly because of them getting exposed to it from looking things on social media. They actually know what that was. When I was 10, I didn't know what suicide was. Suicide actually is the number 2 cause of death for 10 to 24-year-olds. And that's actually keeps increasing. In a couple states, it's the number 1. And I feel like the big reason is because we're constantly comparing ourselves to others. We're looking at, I see Zara's page and I'm like, oh, she's got it so together. And she's so amazing. And I compare it. But then I don't always realize, like, Zara also calls me about when she's having a bad day. She doesn't post all that, right? She doesn't show off that piece. So it is that kind of thing where you're constantly comparing and we're going through a hard time. How many of you guys have been stressed out during right now? Like, right? Like, how many of you guys have felt lonely during right now, right? Like, it is. Again, that's all a mental thing. It's all a common thing. It's a normal thing. And I think social media either can help with it, because let me ask you this. How many of you guys have used technology in the opposite way? How many of you guys have used technology to connect, to not feel so lonely, right? Like, you've either FaceTime or who's on house party. That's totally my favorite right now, right? Yeah, like, you can use these technologies for such cool things as well to, like, help with the mental health. So I just feel like we can use social media in a negative way by comparing and using it in negative and messing up with your head, or you can use it in a positive to connect and make yourself not feel so lonely.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head right there. Social media has, I've noticed it within myself with my community, with everyone that I've possibly met, that we have this tendency to compare our worst days to other people's best days. And it's so important to remind yourself that, okay, this is just a depiction of a person. They're just highlighting their important parts or their best parts for the world to see. They're not gonna sit down and cry for 2 hours and post that unless they're a clickbaity YouTuber. No, they're not gonna do that. It's just so important to remind yourself, and I have to do that. This is like a reminder for me as well, that you have to realize that, okay, it's who I want to put out there, you know, like which part of me do I want to put out there? Which niche do I want to fit into? And sometimes overthinking about social media. And I feel like almost everyone has thought about being an influencer at some point and thinking about what's my aesthetic? What is my brand? What am I trying to do? And at some point it could get too overwhelming if you're not in that position to do so. So it's extremely important to remind yourself the basics. Social media is just there for myself so I could express myself on there. And the most powerful button is the unfollow button. So if someone is bothering you in real life, or if you are having that decline, then unfollow them, because you don't deserve that toxicity and you don't deserve that negativity. Make sure that you unfollow people, or that you press that restrict button if you feel uncomfortable.
I think that was perfect. You know, it is so true, because kind of like a highlight reel, you know, because you're trying to show everyone the best parts of your life, and you're not necessarily, you know, that, like you said, 2 hours of crying or whatever that situation might be. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, and Gillian, let me just add on to that too. Like, tell me, like, there's so many unspoken rules of social media. Like, think about it, right? You're not supposed to film the entire concert when you're at a concert, right? But how many of you guys have seen someone do that before? Right? You get so annoyed with it. And like, people don't, like, what's another one? I'm not supposed to, on Snapchat, I'm not supposed to send you a private message and send it on my story, right? Like, that's a super no-no. There's so many unspoken rules of social media. And I think that's another one, is like, you're not supposed to show your worst day. Like, I don't know why not. Like, my car actually, I ran out of gas last weekend, and like I was in a meeting and like it was 100 degrees and running my air conditioner. So I ran out of gas. It was horrible. So my friend had to come save me. And then this weekend, my battery died while I was in my car having a meeting with a student, and like someone had come jump me again. And I'm going to be like, I finally was like, I need to post this. Like, people need to see that I'm on the struggle bus with my car. Like, they need to know that I have these hard times and it's okay. And I make jokes of it. And my last name's Karr with a K. So I put Karr is greater than CAR right now. Because like, that's what you have to do. And we need to start showing that a little bit more often.
Yes, definitely. And it is, you're right, there are so many unspoken rules, and even that can affect your mental health too, because like keeping up with that and keeping up with everything else, you're like, oh my gosh. And then you're majority of the time, if you break one of those rules, you're, you know, called out on it, or, you know, whatever that might be. But I think, we definitely need to normalize it being okay, showing those struggles that we have in our lives, because we all have them. Even if we're not sharing them, they still happen. So we should be able to celebrate the bad things too, which seems kind of backwards. But like I said, it happens to all of us. So being able to share it, you know, and like that was obviously maybe not funny for you in the moment, but funny for everyone else watching it.
Right. And then you just kind of go, and then I did take a picture of my like hood up. And then at the end I was like, victory, you know, my friend rescued me. Like, we have to start showing that a little bit more often, of like, I'm on the struggle bus right now, but I'm going to make it through. And I'm either going to be a victim or I'm going to be a victor. Like, we have to start figuring out which one do we want to be, and realize that everyone, like, people are, you know, victors. We're going to struggle at some point, but how we look at it is, mental health is real, and we have to figure out how you're going to spin it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with all that. That's, like, you said it perfectly. And it's kind of like, people only post what they want you to see. They don't post the 100% real them, and even your friends, they only post like what you want them to see, and you don't know 100% what's going on behind the screen, which kind of leads me into my next question. How would you go about asking a friend or family, or even someone you don't know, about their mental well-being and how they're doing?
You saw my smile, Kim, and you know that this is my jam. Okay, so it's really, thank you for bringing up this question, because a lot of people want to help someone, but they don't know how. And sometimes it's so easy for someone's intentions to be mistranslated. So if it's 5 steps. If it's your friend, family member, someone that you know, say what you see. If you see them being distant or not as active or really like isolating themselves, tell them that. Say, hey, I noticed blank. And then show that you care. You need to follow up with that, and you need to say, I'm always here for you. Let's talk about it if you feel comfortable. And you want to hear them out, because it's super important for you as a friend to be there as a support system. Sometimes people, they don't want someone to give them so much advice. They just need someone to hear them and to understand them. So that's like your number one role. And then you also need to connect to help. So if it gets so serious, or if you see that they have any signs of like a serious mental illness or disorder, connect them to a hotline, or tell them to use the Calm app or Headspace. All of those will really help them and get their mind in the right place. And again, whenever they have these negative thoughts, sometimes it could get too overwhelming on yourself. So you want to make sure that you have that boundary, but tell them that you're there for them.
Yeah, 100% agree with her. You people that are having some kind of mental health issues, they don't want your advice. They just want you to listen. And I honestly, my biggest suggestion is to not just ask, hey, how are you doing? Because I don't know, Alexus, if somebody asks you how you're doing, no matter how you're doing, what's your normal answer?
Fine.
Right? And so the big secret is when I ask you, then it's like, have a conversation. So I ask you, how are you doing? You say, fine. Have a conversation, then go back. Hey, Alexus, let's go back. How are you really doing? Like, ask again. And then even like after you've had a conversation again, go back and be like, hey, how are you really doing again? Like, sometimes you have to kind of keep asking that, because it takes people a little while to warm up before they just kind of, vomit their feelings to you. They don't want to, that's not something you just like vomit right. Like, I'm actually, this, right? So it's ask and ask again, and listen, not give advice.
Thank you. Yeah, I had, I was like struggling a little bit on like the proper way to get my friends or family members to like talk to me, but comfortably, without like feeling too closed off from me. And so that definitely helped me a lot. And I 100% agree. Whenever someone asks me, how am I doing? It's just like, fine, and then you're always too afraid to like push it a little bit, but sometimes it's good to push it, just to make sure they're doing okay and that you're here for them, so they know. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I like totally agree with Alexus, because even though you can be kind and comforting in a way, you still have to sort of be upfront about it and not just shrug it off. And that kind of leads me into my next question. Like, what are these warning signs of mental health issues? And what are like the best outlets to get help from if you're a student or just anybody in general?
Yeah, Zara, I'm gonna answer like the warning signs, and if you want to kind of do the outlet piece, I think that'd be really cool to do it that way. So the social signs, I'm just kind of reading them off of by the way, there is worktobewell.org, which is a free site. You can get curriculum off that. So I'm actually reading off of that. We teamed up with Providence Health and Wellbeing Trust to create the curriculum on there. So I'm actually going to be reading that off there. So the social signs are avoiding social interaction with usual friends, canceling any kind of activities, skipping any kind of, like if it's school or work or practice, things like that, isolating from peer group, and spending more time alone. So like those are definitely like the social signs if that people are having some kind of mental health issues. Physical signs, or even not returning your text messages is another one, the social signs, right? Physical signs is they're having headaches, they're having fatigue, that they're constantly tired, right? Feeling constantly tired all the time, complains of not feeling well, and then changes like eating habits. Either they eat a lot or they don't eat at all. So there's kind of different ones on that piece. And then emotional signs is that they're feeling nervous, feeling on edge, they're irritable, right? Like might be angry really fast, or they're just kind of just silent. Like they usually would be passionate about something and they lost that passion. Like they keep those feelings kind of to themselves. Restless, like they're having a hard time sleeping, or sitting still. And then unexpected outbursts. So they like get irritated really fast and they'll shout at you, or outburst of anger, or anxiety kind of a piece. So those are definitely the warning signs. Zara, what do you think? What's the best way of being able to handle that?
Yeah, the warning signs, I'm pretty sure a few of us have gone through them. One thing to get yourself out of that decline is self-care. And I don't mean a night of face masks and binging your favorite movie series and talking to your girlies, although that could be helpful. I mean, starting back to the basics, getting your sleep schedule in order, creating some sort of routine for yourself, going back to your abandoned crane skincare routine. Those are some things that you really have to push yourself if you're struggling with mental health. And the fact that you notice that you're declining or that other people have noticed that you're declining is a sign that you need to get back on it. You know, eating well, going outside, calling a friend, and really investing yourself in a hobby. Kim mentioned that one of the social signs is that you lost interest in something. You could either rekindle that interest or you could find something else. And also going to therapy and seeing a professional. I feel like even though in some states we can't have in real life therapy, but we could have online therapy, and sometimes people are more comfortable with that. Therapy is definitely a great way to really get your life back in track, or at least coaching or talking to a trusted adult. And if you don't find a therapist, just talk to your doctor. So yeah, those are some few things that could really help you get back on your mental train.
And I'm really proud of Zara because I know she struggles with this. And I love that she's now giving advice, because I feel like she's like, I'm giving this advice because I've actually used it. So thank you for being vulnerable, Zara, and telling people, right? So what are some things that you've done, Zara, like being vulnerable? Because I know you had a hard time with sleeping.
Yeah, I am still struggling with insomnia. Rather than dreading it, I realized that I need to be optimistic about it and really take advantage of it and figure out, why am I staying up so late? Why am I up here? So yeah, just really focusing on how you're feeling about these actions that you're doing. That has really helped me, because sometimes I'm like, wait, it's late, let me just try my best. So I listen to a podcast to put myself to sleep, because sometimes it really helps and sometimes it doesn't. And talking to someone online who's also struggled through the same thing, that's like the best help ever, because there's this app and website called 7 Cups of Tea. It's where you get paired with an anonymous person and they get to share their experience and give you advice. And the best thing, again, it's anonymous and online. So definitely check that out if you aren't feeling comfortable to reach out to a friend.
And kind of like Kim said, thank you so much for sharing, because that, like we were saying, that can be really hard sometimes in this kind of a situation. I've seen over this crazy time in our world. I know everyone's saying that, but it is crazy with being, having to be so physically separated from everyone, and the routines and things that we're used to not being a thing anymore, or not being able to go to in-person therapy or different things that you used to happening. And so, I've seen that more time with yourself, kind of, you're right, getting back onto that self-care, focusing on your sleep schedule and focusing on those different things to improve yourself and improve just your mindset about things. I've seen that, but I've also seen the other, I personally have gone through both aspects of the, the better mindset, and then the worse mindset and the loneliness and some different things that have come with that. So I guess my question is, how can we help people whose anxiety has increased during quarantine, and kind of the weirdness of getting back, in the anxiety, I guess we could say, of getting back to a sort of normal schedule with school, well, depending on where you're at, but I know here in Nevada, with schools kind of going back.
When someone is struggling with anxiety, you need to really put yourself in their shoes and realize that they are afraid of everything, like any little thing that you consider benign. And for people who don't struggle with the anxiety disorder, you really have to realize that. So if you know someone who's struggling with anxiety disorder and they really want to, with all of this craziness going on, as you said, that term is so overused, but there's no better way to describe it. It's to really reassure them that they're not alone. This goes for anyone, that they are not alone. We're all going through a very similar situation right now, if not the same. And we have to be there for each other and really show up as a community and to say, hey, we're all in this together. I think that's a High School Musical line, but yeah, it's really important to realize that. And again, this is one of those reminders that you have to keep in your iPhone notes. You are not alone. There's always going to be someone for you. There's always going to be someone who is going through a very similar thing as you. So never be afraid to reach out, or if someone is struggling with it and you really want to help them, but you don't know how, just, again, reassure them that you're there for them and that you don't judge them. Because I feel like now we grow up in a society where everyone is being judged or called out and canceled. Even though it might not happen like online, it happens within communities. And it's important to say that I'm here for you and that I don't judge, and that this won't affect our relationship in any negative way.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. And I think just going back, like, no matter what your schools is going to be like, whatever, if it's on hybrid or just, if you are on distance learning, you have to have a schedule. Like, you have to. Trust me, I'm constantly telling Zara, you have to have a bedtime. Like, you have to figure out what time you're going to put yourself to bed and like get off your devices at a certain time. And like, you're not supposed to like even read something that's entertaining. Like, you're supposed to actually listen to something that's boring to put yourself to bed. So it is giving yourself a routine. Like, I wake up every morning at the same time. I work out first thing. That's how I start my day, because I feel like that helps me mentally the most, helps with my mentals. And then I have certain things, and I actually schedule time with my friends. So like on my calendar, I literally have times that I check in with my friends. Every morning by 9 o'clock, my friend Donna she always checks in with me, either text or something or a call. I think that's important to have, even scheduling time that you're going to check in with your friends, because I live alone. And I think that I could be, like, I think that's important for someone to check on me. Like, that matters to me. So, and that's what I try to do with other people. I have other scheduled times of like fun time in my schedule, because I am one of those people who I could work all day long and it wouldn't bother me, but it's not good for my mental health. So it is, even having that on your schedule of like going for a walk or doing something else is super, super important. That I really agree that you need to check in with your friends and your peers and even yourself. Like, what is it that I need to change? What kind of habits am I created that is not a good habit to have, that's not making me better?
And I think the other thing that Zara kind of said that I found over this past couple weeks, I guess, and just in general, is the thought process that your feelings are valid. I think that a lot of the times, even when people do reach out to their friends or certain things like that, you said kind of putting yourself in their shoes. I think that's in every aspect of our lives, and going back to school and with our families and everything, just understanding that even if you don't understand how that person feels, they feel how they feel. So whatever that is, that's valid to them, and that's just valid. And so going from there and not judging them for based on how they're feeling or what, those little things, because I don't understand what other people are feeling, but I need to still help them and still be there for them regardless of what that is. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that as well. I mean, to get your friend to feel more comfortable with you and for them to do the same in return, you have to make sure that you don't disregard what they're feeling just because you don't understand it, and vice versa, And I think it's very important to do that with like peers at school as well, and make sure that everyone is feeling safe and you're checking up on everyone and making sure everyone's well-being is good and is fine, and you're staying in touch. It helps your well-being too. Going off of that, for student councils and students at school, what can student councils be doing to better help students who are suffering from mental illness?
Mental health, issues. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, start the conversation. We have to start having the conversation, and even like able to post something up on your story about mental health and like how you are doing self-care. Our interns all say self-care Sunday, and like we all check in each other, like, what are you doing for self-care today, right? And we have to respond back, and just kind of actively having that conversation. Use the curriculum that we've created with the Work to Be Well. having that things. Right now, this month for July, we have different campaigns every month, and we want schools and student councils to join us. So right now it's called Get Up, Get Out, and Get Active. So we want you to join us. We want you to be showing off on your story. How are you being active? Because it's so important. And they're doing fun things. Like they did a exercise the other day where you had to spell out your name, workout with your name, right? And then now they're going to be showing off their bloopers, like of, again, we're not going to show the perfect of us working out. We're going to show some of the bloopers of us like messing up, right? Like, and that's okay to do. And so we want you to join us to be able to have that, because that's what student councils can do. Is what if, like, we're a team of, I think, 60 students of interns that are nationwide. We're now in 17 states and 4 countries with I Can Help interns. But what if the entire student council of Nevada started campaigning with us, I Can Help, whatever we're doing on our story, and using social media to keep having these conversations and start showing, like, in order to have good mentals, we have to take care of our body. We have to get up and get out and get active, right? What if we started sharing that? We had these campaigns together. We would be way more powerful. We're so much more powerful when we do things together. So get your student councils on board and showing off this stuff. We have to have these things together. Check out our Instagram page, because we do have even bingo cards and how do you, did you take sick? What have you done so far for self-care, right? So all those kind of things are such easy things that your student council can do. And then just simple, again, going back to your question before, Alexus, is just check in with people. Hey, how are you doing? Like, tell me, how are you really doing? And checking in, doing a group chat with people on it, right? Have a class, do a class Zoom. Hey, let's check on all of us sophomores. Where are we at on this? Do a Google survey, right? Do a Google form. Let's check where we're at. What should we do? Why not do a scavenger hunt? Do something fun to uplift that spirits, right? To bring people back. Go back to what Zara said. Go back to the basics. What are some basic things that we can do? Basic things we can do is, hey, what are some playlists? Create a playlist that will make you relaxed. What are your pictures on your phone? Let's look at those. Pull up your memories. What's your favorite memory from, go back to like 3rd grade. Show us your favorite memory from when you're in elementary school, right? Like, that'll make you happy, right? Like, there's so many things we can do. We just go back to those basics that I think a school in Texas did that. They did like a tweet thread where it was like, show off your favorite elementary picture. And then they did a thread. It was so cool. Went like 300 people deep. Like, how cool is that? There's so many neat things your student councils can do to like spark joy in people, because that's what we need to do, is we need to spark more joy instead of stress and judging people and telling people, oh, that's cringy. Like, we're not being nice to each other, right? We're just being judgy and like not being like, oh, that's too cringy, or that's whatever. That our world's already dark enough. Like, we just need to bring some joy to people. So start doing that. We can team up with us. Like, we love to help you. Whatever your ideas are, we want to help you and spread it as much as we can.
Yeah.
Exactly. We love schools. We love student councils. We love working with you guys. Yeah, it's really important. Kim's overall theme there is community, building this community and having schools join our I Can Help community. It's so important that we have that, because I feel like so many people who are struggling with mental health or who are declining don't have that opportunity to join a community or don't feel included. And it's so important to bring that up and to, again, let them know that you're there and that, hundreds of other people are there for them too. And it's such a beautiful thing to have a community. And I feel like it's a student council's job to really enforce that and to have that community, to make sure that people are not alone. And again, bringing up that conversation about mental health and saying that their feelings are valid and that they are worthy. It's so important to really not realize that, but to preach that and to, again, we have social media now, so we could post on there and we could share how we feel about mental health and our views on it and what we could do about it. And having I Can Help put out all of this amazing content, that's straight up a week's feed over there. So yeah, getting people involved with mental health organizations like yours truly, and really making sure that everyone's on the same page, because there could be a few rotten apples saying that, or bad apples saying that, making these cringe compilations of people or these tea accounts that we see all the time on social media. So having that majority be all about positivity and social media wellness is so important.
Yeah, I 100% agree that, like, you took the words right out of everyone's, like, mouths. It's like, because everyone just wants, just get rid of the hate, you know, start, like, appreciating everyone's differences and everyone's, like, interest and everything, you know. It's important to not judge someone else, because this is who they are. This is what they enjoy, this is what they're doing, and it's good to, like, be like a role model for everyone else and show, this is what I'm doing for my mental well-being and helping my mental health. You should try it too, you know. And I think if you start it, your friends will be like, oh, that's cool, you know, I want to start it too. So I think that's really cool, and it's really great, and a lot of schools and student councils should start doing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think every student council should do what you guys are doing here, is where you made this, like, YouTube platform. Again, you're building that community where they can come to. Zara and her friend made a podcast that they, you know, are starting to do to build a community, talking about speak up to step up. Like, I think it's just super cool that they're building this community. There's so many things you can do. The question is, will you? Like, we can sit there and talk about it, or we can just actually make it happen. Again, you're going to be a victim, or you're going to be a victor. Like, what are you going to start doing? We can sit there and complain about all the things we can't do right now, or we can start focusing on things we can do and what we can, steps we can make. So just start making it happen, and team up with people, team up with I Can Help, team up with, you know, with your organization, right? The Nevada organization. Like, everyone wants to support each other, and let's just make awesome things happen. We all want to help each other. So let's go.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's super important to establish that community feeling, saying like, oh, they are experiencing the same things as I am, and maybe I should do something to change it up. And I think that's super important. It's gonna help relieve the stress of people and bring them more together.
Thank you for sharing those resources. I'm excited to go look into it more, and obviously, even if we're obviously going to look into it more, but even personally, just sharing those things and getting those out there. So thank you for talking with us today and sharing those resources. We can't wait to explore those.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on. We love it.
Yes, of course. We love talking about mental health and expressing our feelings about it and getting some more insight on you guys. So yeah, thank you.